So welcome everybody to our September Lungitude peer support network meeting, and it's great to have so many of you on board. We've got Zoë Wilkinson, who's going to join us today from Lung Foundation Australia, and she's very kindly offered to talk through some of the services which Lung Foundation Australia offer for people with lung conditions. Now, I know a lot of you are post-transplant, and some of you are already well down the respiratory path with specialists and maybe talking to the transplant doctors already. But Zoë kindly offered to share some things which might be helpful. We're recording this because we had a few people who said they weren't able to make today's session, so we'll do that. But over to you, Zoë, if you'd like to introduce yourself. If there's anything extra we might not like to know about you and what you'd like to share today, that would be great.
Lovely, thank you, Wendy, and thank you for having me. I know it's a bit different today. Usually you have your peer support meeting without a speaker there, so it is a bit different today, and I really appreciate you giving me the time to come in and just explain a little bit more about what we do and how we connect people with other services. So I've got a little slideshow that I'll run through, but I'll leave a little bit of time at the end for any questions. I'm quite happy to email individually if there's additional information that you might need. I'm just going to share my screen now.
And if anyone wants to see it larger, you can click on the view option and do speaker view, and then you can see it even bigger.
Lovely. Can you see that main screen, Wendy, now?
Yeah, I can. Yep.
Great, thank you. So as Wendy mentioned, I am the peer support coordinator at Lung Foundation Australia. We have lots of different teams here that work in different capacities, but my main role here is to connect people with peer support services and to grow our network across Australia, and for health professionals becoming aware that we exist and we offer these services in addition to medical-based services. So I'm based in Brisbane, and I am coming from the lands of the Turrbal and Yagara people, so I'd like to pay my respects to elders past and present, and any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people that may be present today. I'm just going to run through the types of service that we offer at Lung Foundation Australia, and as Wendy said, these may be relevant to you currently, or you may have passed that stage of relevancy, and there may be different elements that will become relevant to you in the future. So I'll run through a few of those, and as I've said, you can always ask questions on any of these at the end, or just stop me if you've got anything that you think of as I'm going through. So one of our services, or the main point of contact for gaining information, is our information support service. So we have a dedicated telephone line that's open from 8:30 till 4, Monday to Friday. And they answer incoming calls, but they also will respond to forms that we receive on our website. So there are different ways that you can contact us. So if you've submitted a form to us, usually it will be one of our information support service members that will call you back, but welcome to call at any point. And they are our main point of giving information. So there may be things that you can obtain from Lung Foundation Australia, so access to advice and information, pulmonary rehab, different exercise classes and those kind of things. They can direct you to some more of our internal services, but they can also direct you to more external services in the community. So there may be a particular query that you have, and if we can't answer that question, we try and direct you to the right organisation that can help you with those. So whether that's a government health department or a separate organisation, we have a list of various resources that they can direct you to. So if you're ever not sure, they're a really good place to start, and if you're looking for something particular. So that's one of our main services. And obviously, as you know, peer support is also another service that Lung Foundation Australia runs, and I'll just go through the other types of peer support in a moment as well, aside from our online support groups. And we also provide access to pulmonary rehab details. The pulmonary rehabs themselves are usually run through the local health authorities, but we have lists of contact details for those that we provide to consumers or people that call us. So we'll go through that slightly a bit more as well. And then Lungs in Action, that's a secondary exercise program that you can use as a continuum after pulmonary rehab. You have to have completed pulmonary rehab first, so we'll go through that after that. We have a few different telehealth services, so those are telehealth nurse and social work services, and I'll run through who those are relevant for and how you can access those. We have another program called COPD Learn and Connect. That's a very new program, and that's an education program that we can run through. As I mentioned, we have a variety of resources on our website. So they're not just condition specific. We have some mindfulness resources and connections to other services there as well. As well as providing health professionals and consumers with information, Lung Foundation Australia has some other branches that people can become involved with as a consumer. So we have different types of consumer advisory committees and ways people advocate for people living with lung conditions and also carers as well. I'll just move on to our information support service. I'll show you the website afterwards. I think I've shared this presentation before, and every time I click a link, I have to reshare my screen, so I'll run through the links separately afterwards. As I mentioned, you can contact the information support service by ringing our 1-800 number, and it's just the option 3 on there when you come through to that one, just to get the correct department for that. We have lots of different departments, so option 3 is our information support service. Or alternatively, if sometimes people are scrolling through our website at night after hours, you can complete a form on our website, and I'll show you that one on our information support service, and someone will give you a call back during business hours to run through your query. It gives you different options in there that you can tick if it's related to a particular area, or if you're not sure, you can just leave that blank and they will give you a call regardless. And they can give you support to navigate all the available information that we may have internally. Our website and our resource library is really big, so sometimes it can be difficult to locate and navigate with that information. So they can give you a direct link to what you need. And so they're always more than happy to email you those links through so you can get that resource directly. And then they provide information to help people living with lung disease and lung cancer access community services. So things that may be based in their local community, we can direct you to those also. And yeah, as I mentioned, they give you access to all Lung Foundation Australia services and can point you in the right direction or to the right department if necessary. And we run a variety of support groups at Lung Foundation Australia. Currently, we have 41 peer support groups nationally. All our peer support groups are run and led by people either living with lung conditions or caring for someone with a lung condition, with the exception of a couple of our lung cancer support groups. When they run out of a hospital or medical centre, they may have a health professional attached to those, and that can be really helpful for that education component as well. These support groups are usually not disease specific, so anyone living with or caring for someone with a lung condition can attend those. And we are trying to re-establish more of those. There was more prior to COVID. Obviously, lots of those closed down during COVID. But it's a fine balance when all those groups are run and led by people living with lung conditions. Obviously, they need to be able to run and support that group. So it's a balance trying to get those up and running again in the community. But we are getting there. We've had a few open quite recently, so that's good. And our online peer support group. So Lungitude is the platform that you access to come to this meeting or where you chat on there. We have a variety of other groups on there as well, so separately. And they're all run usually in condition, we say condition or disease specific. So we have one for pulmonary fibrosis, one for people living with COPD. There are a variety of disease specific groups, and then also for people caring for people with lung conditions. There's a carers specific group and also a carers of children group on there as well. Another type of peer support we have is our phone program. So people that may not have access or are able to access digitally on our online support groups can connect with someone on the phone. So we call those people our primary peers. And that would be someone that has experience of living with a lung condition, that's received some training from us. They're not a trained health professional or counsellor. They're connecting on their lived experience, and we cover 7 conditions for that currently. That's a growing program, and we cover pulmonary arterial hypertension, COPD, pulmonary fibrosis, lung cancer, interstitial lung disease, LAN, and there is one more that I've missed. I can't remember the last one off the top of my head, but there are 7 conditions in that one, and that's a growing service. And people who access that service with the primary peers, we call those our secondary peers, they will often go on to that primary peer role once they've had that experience of speaking with someone. They usually do 3 phone calls over a 3 to 4 month period, and they find that really helpful to connect. Some sometimes with some of our rarer lung conditions, someone may never have spoken to someone living with hypersensitive pneumonitis or a rarer lung condition. So it's really validating for people to be able to speak with someone else and find out what their experience has been as well. So we really value the volunteers that give their time to be able to speak with others. Pulmonary rehab, that was another thing that we had mentioned that we direct people towards. It's an evidence-based exercise program for people living with lung condition or lung cancer, and it helps maintain physical fitness and improve symptoms and quality of life. People find pulmonary rehab really helpful. I think it's obligatory once you've had a lung transplant to enter into some kind of pulmonary rehab across the breadth of lung conditions that we see. Lots of people find that really beneficial. So we connect people with those services and can let you know. Lots of the time those classes may have a wait list, so we can direct you to 2 or 3 that may be in your community that you could access. So you've got options there. And you can do that by calling our 1-800 number, or I'll go to our website and show you where those forms are to be able to access that as well. Lungs in Action is a maintenance program that's run by Lung Foundation Australia, or we train the exercise professionals that run that program. A condition of that program is that you must have completed pulmonary rehab in the last 6 months. That's just to make sure that you're safe to continue an exercise program. And that has that benefit of maintaining those pulmonary and cardiac benefits that people have started to achieve in pulmonary rehab. Obviously, pulmonary rehab is a short program of 6 to 8 weeks, but this allows people to carry on with that program. This one has a fee for service because it's run by private professionals, so they all try to keep their fees minimal for the community that they're in, but that helps to maintain an ongoing. So I think they run sort of in 10-week rolling enrolment classes that you can continue in the community. So people find that really beneficial. And also, if there's not a peer support program in their community, often people will connect through that Lungs in Action program also. And that's for people with cardiac and lung conditions. Our free telehealth service is something else that Lung Foundation Australia offer. And we offer that service through our 1-800 number, or again by filling out a form on our website. Currently, we have a respiratory care nurse that provides free support for people living with COPD or bronchiectasis. So that can be those more medical-based questions that aren't as appropriate for a peer support environment, more specific things around medication, inhaler device technique, COPD action plans, and looking at advocacy and empowering them with their doctors to be able to ask questions, or knowing what questions are the right questions to ask about their lung condition and their medications, or maintaining their health. So that's a service where the nurse does a 3-call protocol for that one. So they would do an initial call, a follow-up call after a month, I think it is, and then they follow up again after a year to see how you're going and if you've managed to action those things that they've put in place or advised you would be helpful for you. That service also runs for people living with lung cancer and their carers. Again, a similar kind of service with help around maybe side effects of treatments, whether that's medical treatments or chemotherapy. They will talk to you about those things and places that you can go in your community and access that service along with your oncologist or any other respiratory specialist that you may be seeing. We also have an occupational lung disease social worker. She again provides a free service to people living with or caring for someone with occupational lung disease. And that one is slightly different in it not being so medical based. It's more about that social support and things that they may be able to access to help them in their community as well. So more along that sort of psychological support rather than the more medical based environment. So again, there's a website form that I can show you for those to access those too. This is a particular program for people living with COPD. Obviously, Lung Foundation Australia is run through government and philanthropic funding. So funding can be specific to certain areas, and this is one of those where our respiratory care nurse runs an education program. It's a series of 4 rolling sessions around mental well-being, medication, exercise and nutrition. And they're really interactive sessions where people can ask questions, talk with their peers and other people in that group around those things of medications and that type of thing. And they webinar access through our information and support number. There will be another way that you can access those through our website. It's a really new program that's just finished its pilot, so there'll be a link on our website for that shortly also. And you sign up for that one, and you just get invited every month to those sessions, and you can continue to receive those invitations until you choose to opt out of that program. So you can repeat sessions if you feel like it would be helpful, or you can just do one session when it suits you. It's really flexible in those elements, and just joining via registering with a link on that one. And as I mentioned, we have lots of resources on the website that I'll show you, and you can narrow those down by type or lung condition. There are webinars, flyers, infographics, the COPD action plan that I mentioned, and also some of our mind matters and mental health resources are accessed through our website also. We have a series called Live Well, Breathe Better, and those webinars are lived experience webinars where it's usually a combination of a health professional and someone with a lived experience of living with a lung condition that speak on those, and they can be really helpful for people to tune into. There's one coming up at the end of September because it's Pulmonary Fibrosis Awareness Month. So we always encourage people, if they do have an interest in that and you can't attend at the time of the webinar, if you register anyway, you'll always receive a recording of that once that's been edited and sent out the following week or two afterwards. So they're really valuable, and they still give me some really useful insights to how people deal with medications and different things. So really helpful to link in with that one. And again, if you have any trouble finding something on the website, that information support number is your go-to there, because they will always know where to find those. I often, when I can't find something on the website, I will go to one of the information support service staff to help me access that information also, because we have a huge range of resources on there. Some people choose to be involved further with Lung Foundation Australia, and consumers can be involved in a few different ways. And that can be by sitting on a consumer advisory committee or becoming a consumer representative or a consumer advocate. They're all slightly different roles. The consumer advisory committees assist the organisation and the board of directors to provide us some advice on relevant issues, and they split those down into 5 different areas. Those are COPD and chronic lung conditions, lung cancer, rare lung disease, pulmonary arterial hypertension, and bronchiectasis. So that information from consumers is really important to inform our work and the direction that goes in. And so that's always considered in any work that we do at Lung Foundation Australia in any area. So that's a voluntary role that people may choose to undertake with us that really helps to guide our work. The consumers representative group is slightly different. They share their lived experience in a few different ways, and that can include we may get media requests for certain things that may be coming up. For example, lung cancer screening at the moment, there's a lot of media requests around that for providing feedback, or there may be separate research opportunities that require that consumer voice. And we're sort of that conduit to allow people to get their lived experience out there and inform work going forward into research and those kind of things. And then the last one is our consumer advocates. And that's more looking at consultation with government strategies and priorities. So things like informing vaccination screening and things that are available on the pharmaceutical benefits scheme, or looking at our cancer screening program and how that's rolled out within communities. So that's more with our policy and advocacy team. So there are ways that people that have lived with lung conditions or care for people with lung conditions can allow their voice to be heard in that wider government priority and strategy sort of forum. And I've put a couple of other links on here, and I'll share this slideshow with Wendy so you can access these if you would like to. We have an impact report that we put out every year, and that's a really good summary of what we've done during the year at LFA, so you can really see what we do aside from that, just the peer support element, although it's one of our most asked for services. When we've done surveys of all our consumers, peer support is in the top 3 that people ask for. There's a lot of other work that we do in the field of lung conditions and lung cancer. We have a Hope Research Fund where we fund research priorities in the lung disease space. We do fundraising. You may have seen some of our Shine a Light fundraising that's coming up in November, and we run some walks all around Australia to raise funding for our lung cancer support nurse. So that happens every year. And we also look at health professional training. So not only do we work with people living with lung conditions and their carers, we also train health professionals such as GPs, nurses, wider doctors in different elements such as medications or any elements really to do with lung conditions and lung disease. That's the kind of a whistle-stop tour of LFA. I've kind of run through all those, but I can show you where to access on our website. But I'm happy to stop the questions at this point if you'd like to, Wendy.
Yes, or maybe as you do that, if anyone has any questions about how LFA can help, because I'm mindful some of us have had transplants already, others are waiting, so it's a bit of a mix. But certainly the exercise resources on your website they're excellent, and anything about the mental health and well-being, really great resources on there. So it's worth just jumping on and having a little look around and deciding if some of it's going to be useful for you. And following them on Facebook and other things. You've got some good social media that happens as well, which is really informative. So I've still learnt things even all these years later by going on, and sometimes sneakily share some of your stuff as well. So it's good.
That's what it's there for, Wendy. As long as the word
out. Yeah. Does anyone else have any questions, or for Zoe? Curious about, or maybe it's one of those things that you have to go on there to have a little look and then you get your questions.
I'm just showing the screen now there, so you can see. Can you see the website page there?
No, I think no. You'll have to go in and out.
Sorry.
I think you have to share your whole screen as opposed to one element. Yeah.
Can you start back on now? Let's see. Where am I? That one. Sorry. I'll go back to that one. Can you see it now?
Yes. Yep, that's good.
Yeah. So we have, let's say that one. We've got a variety of resources. These, when going to the resource page, they show at the top the most popular ones. They're the ones that are the most pushed up to the top. But you can always type in the search bar here, or you can just search by condition type or resource type. So if you've got a particular thing like exercise, if you were to type in there, it would come up with all our exercise resources. It takes a minute to go through. But as I said, if you ever have any trouble with any of those, just let us know. And information support have such a great knowledge of what's actually on there. They'll be able to know if a resource exists and where to find it. And you can, that's just the resource page, but you can also go into this patient carers at the top. And that find a service page is the one that I was referencing that will take you to any of those links. So the pulmonary rehab, you can search by postcode to see if there is a class. You can find face-to-face support groups by searching on postcode there. Also those forms that I was referencing for linking in with any of our other services. So they're also there. If you click inquire now, it will take you to a form that will go into our information support stuff, and they will give you a call on any of those. Or on this one here, if there's not sure what you're looking for, you just click that one, and again, they'll give you a call. Sometimes people are scrolling late at night. They think I'll do that tomorrow, but if you actually submit that form, then they'll give you a call back from between the hours of 8 and 4:30, usually the next day or the day after. They're fairly quick at getting back to people. So any questions, just submit one of those and they can call you during office hours. I'm going to stop my share there, Wendy.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Any other questions at all?
Only other comment I would make is that as we share our own stories, we often come across people in the community who are either maybe have a lung condition or whatever, and there's quite a few that don't know about you guys. So redirecting people to Lung Foundation is a good first step sometimes for them to get going on their journey and seeing what support's out there. So even if they're not near needing a transplant, I often get that. They'll go, oh, my cousin's got, COPD, or my, friend's got, and they say, oh, can you help? And I'm like, no, but check out Lung Foundation Australia because they've got some good resources. So that's a good starting point. Yeah.
So many good links, and we're really trying to get the word into the community. So that's really helpful if you do know someone to just direct us. And and then we can point you in the right direction. That 1-800 number is always a good starting point, because we can find anything for you from there.
Yeah, and I know some of those conditions you mentioned, we do have people in the peer support who have those, so they may also want to connect with some of those peer groups too. All right, well, that's great. Unless there's any other questions, we'll let Zoe get back to her next meeting. Thank you so much for jumping on. No, it's great. Yeah.
Thank you. Nice to meet you all. Thank you. And do reach out. I'll share my email if you'd like to reach out to me individually. I'll share my email that Wendy has already, that you can contact me for any questions individually as well.
I'll post the slides and all of that into the group. Yeah.